People who resent you for no reason aren't hard to spot. Once you know the pattern and what you're actually looking at. There's the comment that was almost a compliment, but not quite. The way they bring up your failures a little too enthusiastically. The cold air that follows your wins. You felt it. You just weren't sure if you were allowed to trust yourself. You are. Because what you're picking up on isn't paranoia. It's data. And it usually has nothing to do with you doing anything wrong. Some people will struggle with you simply for existing well, not because of what you've done to them, but because of what your life quietly says about the one they're not living. That's jealousy, and it's entirely theirs to carry, not yours. Here are 5 behaviors that people who resent your wins consistently show. Not so you can call them out, but so you can stop explaining yourself to people who were never actually confused about you to begin with. The last one is the most dangerous, because it can turn social fast. 1. They reframe your wins as luck. Something good happens to you. A promotion, a relationship, a creative project that finally lands. And before you finish the sentence, they have an answer for it. You were just in the right place at the right time. That kind of thing always seems to happen to you. Must be nice. It's said lightly, almost warmly, but something in it finds a target, that small, unguarded place in you that was genuinely proud, and it lands there like a pin. Suddenly you're second-guessing yourself. Were you just lucky? Did you actually earn this? Or are they minimizing you? You walk away from a moment that should have felt good, feeling vaguely embarrassed for having felt good about it at all. Every time someone hands your success to luck or timing, they're quietly cutting the thread between what you did and what you got. Because if it wasn't earned, there's nothing to feel the sting of. The discomfort they felt when you succeeded gets a clean, logical place to go. The lucky moment almost always lands on top of something you built. The years of showing up when it wasn't working, the attempts nobody saw, the decision to keep going when stopping would have been easier. They're not counting any of that. You should. And you don't have to convince them. Just remember it for yourself. 2. They're invested in your setbacks. When something goes wrong for you, they become more present, more engaged, more warm. There's an aliveness in them that's hard to name, but impossible to miss. Then something goes right, and you feel it before you can explain it. A subtle cooling, eye contact that doesn't quite land, a subject changed just a beat too quickly. You tell yourself it's nothing, but then it happens again, and one day you realize you've started editing what you share, leading with the hard stuff because that's when they show up. Quietly leaving out the good stuff, because sharing it feels like a risk. That instinct is information, not drama. Their energy follows your misfortune because your misfortune genuinely settles something in them. When you're struggling, the gap closes. The silent comparison they've been running finally feels even. The painful part isn't that they're cold during your good moments. It's that they were so warm during your hard ones. Jealousy and genuine feeling aren't always opposites. People are layered enough to hold both. But care that's only fully available in your worst moments is telling you something about the relationship. The people truly in your corner don't require a particular version of your life. Your wins don't create distance. They are present in both directions. Pay attention to who those people are. That list is smaller than you think and more valuable than you know. 3. They give you compliments designed to shrink you. This is the most sophisticated behavior on this list. And it's built, almost perfectly, to go undetected. The compliment lands first, warm, seemingly sincere. For a half second, you receive it fully. Then, the second half arrives. You're so confident. I could never be that shameless about self-promotion. You look amazing. I think it's so brave to just not care what people think. You're so talented. It must be easy for you to not take things seriously. The blade is always in what follows. The quiet reframe that does its work in the slipstream of the compliment, converting your confidence into obliviousness, your ease into carelessness, your boldness into something they're generously choosing not to judge you for. And you can't object to it. The compliment is right there, on record. So you smile, say thank you, and carry something home you can't quite name. Not quite hurt, not quite angry, just somehow smaller than you were before the conversation started. That feeling isn't confusion. It's your body clocking the pattern before the words have even caught up. Trust it. When the same person consistently leaves you feeling smaller after interactions that were supposed to feel good, that's not paranoia, that's a pattern. You're not inventing the blade because you can't see it. You felt it land. That's enough to take seriously. If this is helping you feel less crazy about what you've been sensing but couldn't quite name before, subscribe. It's free, and it helps this kind of content reach the people who need it most. Now, back to the behaviors. 4. They compete with things you never made into a competition. You mentioned something in passing, a trip, a goal, something small that made you happy, shared easily because it didn't occur to you not to, and something changes in them, a recalibration. Suddenly they have a version of it, bigger, already done, further along. The conversation has moved, and you're not sure when you lost the thread. You weren't competing, you were just talking, but a scoreboard appeared, and apparently you'd been playing the whole time without knowing it. The feeling this produces isn't anger, it's guilt, like you did something wrong by taking up space. So you start pre-filtering what you share. You learn which topics are safe, and somewhere in all that managing, you stop taking up space. Not because anyone told you to, just gradually and then completely. Jealousy turns ordinary conversation into a contest the other person is constantly losing in their own mind. They're not hearing what you said, they're hearing what your happiness implies about theirs. And the only moves available to them are to match you, surpass you, or quietly dismantle what you have. You cannot edit your life carefully enough to resolve someone else's internal arithmetic. The version of you that goes quiet, that learns to dim before walking into certain rooms. That version doesn't make them more comfortable. It just makes you less present, less yourself, less. You were never meant to make yourself small to keep someone else comfortable. That's not generosity, that's disappearance. 5. They work to make sure others doubt you. This is the most dangerous. This is where resentment stops being personal and starts being social. They're not just uncomfortable with you. They're actively, quietly doing something about it. A comment here, a well-placed doubt there, a story told to the right person at the right time. Not a lie exactly, a twist. A version of you that's a little less capable, a little less trustworthy, a little less deserving of the good things happening to you. Subtle enough that you can't point to it directly. Targeted enough that you start to feel its effects. You notice people responding to you slightly differently, and you can't identify why. You sense a shift in a room you used to feel comfortable in. Someone who used to be warm is now oddly reserved, and you don't know what changed. This is the most corrosive behavior on this list, because it attacks something you can't easily defend. Your reputation inside relationships you value. And because it's designed to be deniable, confronting it directly almost never works. It just gives them more material. What does work is the same thing that's always worked for you. Consistency. Showing up as yourself, clearly and repeatedly, until the people who matter have enough direct experience of you that no reframing can fully override it. Your character, expressed consistently over time, is your strongest defense against someone else's narrative. What all 5 of these have in common? Every single one of these behaviors shares the same core function. They're all attempts to manage the discomfort your wins create in them. Not because you are too much, but because something in them is telling them they are not enough. And you, simply by being yourself, keep making that feeling louder. That is not your fault. It is not your problem to solve. And it is not your job to shrink yourself so that someone else can feel more comfortable in their own skin. It's your job to protect your peace. You already spent years doing that. You already had someone in your life whose emotional weather you monitored constantly, whose comfort you prioritized over your own, whose reaction to your existence you tried endlessly to manage and improve and appease. You know how that ends. It ends with you smaller, quieter, and further from yourself than you ever intended to go. So here is what you do instead. You name the pattern, clearly, privately, without drama. You adjust how much access this person has to your life. You stop offering your wins to people who can't hold them. And you keep going, not to prove something to them, not to win anything, just because you have a life to build and it deserves your full attention, not the portion left over after managing everyone else's feelings about it. The people who resent you for no reason are telling you something without meaning to. They're telling you that you have something worth protecting. Receive that information. Let it steady you. And then keep going anyway. Thanks for watching Calm Confidence. You've got this. See you in the next one.